It's been a minute. Yeah. So I discovered Dimage last summer, and that was the beginning of the hardest year, one of the darkest years I've had so far. And I said I wasn't going to cry, and I've already started to cry. The third time I visited, I got up here and shared something scary, vulnerable. I talked about my queerness, my sexuality, an accident that I had. And I was terrified at how everybody was going to react and respond to me. And I remember getting back to my seat and having several people come up and just give me a hug. And I knew in that moment that I was in a safe place and that I was going to be allowed to show up in the most authentic and raw version of myself without any judgment. And so thank you for the space. It has been so detrimental to my healing this year. And I don't know what I would have done without you. This week has particularly been hard. Monday was a 1-year anniversary of a loss of a relationship. Tomorrow is the 2-year anniversary of the accident that contributed to that loss. I've been working on this piece to read specifically on the eve of the accident, and it is titled Endless Recovering. My assignment from my therapist to write about my recovery. Recovery, such a clean word for something that split my life in two. It sounds like endings, like finishing lines, like healed things neatly stitched shut. But there are some wounds that do not close, only wounds you learn to carry without dropping. You look at me now and you see a woman walking, talking, functioning. You would never think the word quadriplegic once hovered over my hospital bed like a storm cloud refusing to move. To understand my destination, you have to understand the wave, the one forming long before I ever touched the water. Somewhere far offshore, hours earlier, maybe even longer, wind pressed itself against the surface of the sea, energy gathering quietly into force, a perfect chain of timing and motion already traveling toward me while I slept beside the woman I loved. The wave was already coming, building itself across miles of open water, carrying a future I could not imagine, moving faithfully toward the exact moment where my body and its force would meet. May 29th, 2024. Bed sheets twisted around our legs, bare skin, salt air drifting through the room, the quiet certainty of being loved. I did not know that morning would become the before. I did not know it would be the last time my body would belong to me in the same way ever again. The ocean was gentle that day, deceptively gentle. We laughed like children. Jumping the waves and body surfing, her always watching for me, always making sure I was okay, and I was. God, I was. Until I caught that perfect wave. I remember the rush of it, the triumph, head down, arms cutting the water, feeling the ocean carry me forward. Hell yeah, I thought. Then sand, force, the crack inside my neck. my body folding over itself like something not meant to survive impact. The wave let go of me, and I floated there, unable to move. Ocean filling my mouth, shells in my nose, panic clawing through me. I saw her beyond the break. Thank God she's watching. Help, I screamed, help me. She dragged me out onto the shore where I felt only the weight of my skull in the sand, nothing else. I could see my body, I just couldn't find myself in it anymore. Diagnosis, Asia A, incomplete, C4 through C6, spinal cord injury. Layman's terms, quadriplegic. Gone was the woman who climbed mountains, slept under stars, carried backpacks heavier than fear. In her place, a girl that had to be catheterized to pee. There are worse things than death, I thought, and this is one of them. But miracles are strange creatures. A surgery, and 10 days later, I walked out of the hospital. Walking, that word fooled everyone. It fooled me most of all, because surviving is not the same thing as remaining whole. I rushed my healing, broke rules, ignored pain, pretended trauma belonged to other people, until grief began collecting itself inside everything. Inside sex, inside touch, inside silence. 4 months later, we tried to make love again. At first, we called it temporary, shock, healing, time. But time kept moving, and sensation did not return with it. Doctors spoke carefully. Hope became a language I grew tired of translating. Nerve pain, muscle spasms, exhaustion, medication bottles lining counters like tiny white gravestones. And grief, everywhere grief. Her grief when I couldn't feel desire or climax. My grief because she could. I still showed up, made love through tears I refused to let her see. Don't touch me, I'd say, because what was the point? Then later I ached because she stopped trying. I wanted to feel desired, even when desire itself had become a place my body no longer lived in. In sadness, dressed up as anger, I told her to find someone normal, someone unbroken, as if I was speaking about an object instead of myself. Then came her leaving, my unraveling, the accident anniversary I survived alone, then a decline in health, a series of MRIs, the new diagnosis I didn't see coming, MS, as though my body had not already taken enough. So I ran. 7 weeks of highways stretching endlessly beneath me, thinking distance might soften grief, thinking new landscapes could drown out the noise inside my head. But despair did not abandon at state lines. It rode beside me through deserts and mountains, slept beside me under the starry nights, and followed me into every sunrise and sunset I was not sure I wanted to see. There was an ache inside me so deep it felt bottomless. The kind of pain that makes death sound less like fear and more like relief. And yes, there was a gun. There were plans I came too close to making permanent. But somehow, beneath all the wreckage, some small, stubborn part of me still wanted to live. I returned home to therapy rooms where I finally learned that trauma does not disappear just because you survive it. And now I am learning that recovery is not resurrection. No one hands you back the life you lost. Recovery is waking up anyway. It is carrying grief without letting it harden into identity. It is mourning the woman I used to be while making room for the woman still here. It is understanding that healing is not linear. A step forward, 3 back, a body aching, a heart aching, still trying, still wanting to try. So no, this is not a story about recovery, not the kind with an ending. This is about the endless recovering.